and Roberto Benigni, the Oscar-winning Italian actor and director who brought slapstick to concentration camps with his film Life is Beautiful. His new stand-up show uses Dante's Divine Comedy as a springboard to contemporary political satire. And from the sounds of things, he's pretty upbeat.
Oh, Patricia, thank you very much. I'm very proud I have to show now my happiness to be here in BBC with Patricia at Night Waves.
Roberto Benigni showing his appreciation. More from him later. 10 years ago, the Italian Roberto Benigni's film Life is Beautiful prompted wild acclaim and some criticism, with its story of a husband and father who's interned in a concentration camp and, concealing the truth about it to his young son, pretends instead that it's all an elaborate game organised for the boy's birthday. It won 3 Oscars. Co-writer, director and lead actor Benigni was already popular in Italy. He's famed for his bendy rubber band body, his politically satirical stand-up shows and his blend of naive charm and physical comedy, which came spilling forth during his Oscar acceptance speech in which he quoted from the poet Dante.
Thank you. This is a moment of joy, and I want to kiss everybody because you are the image of the joy. And he who kisses the joy as it flies lives in eternity sunrise, then said the poet. And this is wonderful to be here.
Dante crops up again in Benigni's latest venture. It's a marathon solo show in which, seemingly unprompted, Benigni goes through each book of the Divine Comedy, passionately extolling its virtues, weaving in personal anecdotes and political critique. It's been a huge hit in Italy, playing to packed stadiums and crowded town squares. 10 years on, his exuberance hasn't dimmed.
Oh, Patricia, thank you very much. I'm very proud I have to show now my happiness to be here in BBC with Patricia at Night Waves. And, of course, I forgot the question. What you say?
Why do you think a one-man comedy show about Dante will appeal to a contemporary audience?
Oh, yes, I remember now what you said to me. Because I think Dante, it's an inexhaustible modernity. Inexhaustible is a word comprehensible, this?
Inexhaustible.
Inexhaustible, yes. Right, thank you, Patricia. So, every great poet, they talk about present, always. And also because poetry is universal, and, to think about Dante like a middle-aged poet or a religious poet is to abate his universality. Because he's the greatest poet in the world. We have only 2. Not the third. We have Dante and Shakespeare. So I am in the country of the second one, but I can say the first one, because they are unexcelled, and unrivaled. Thank you.
Very few comedians have taken on Shakespeare. Very few have made a single show. I've seen the DVD. I've watched it in Italian. It's you on a stage talking for an hour. Now that's a much harder task than doing something traditional like putting on a play by Shakespeare.
Oh, yes. But in the first part, I talk about modern times. I mean, I can talk about Gordon Brown or Berlusconi. Why not? Berlusconi is one of my favorite characters. Maybe more than Dante.
What is it about Berlusconi? Now, we at the BBC, we are neutral here, but what is your view of Berlusconi?
Me too. I am a very BBC man, very neutral. I'm Berlusconi.
But still, he's a figure of satire.
Oh, yes. I must say that as Italian, we are very lucky to have Berlusconi as a comedian. As a comedian, they envy me in everywhere. I go, oh, beato te. How do you say beato te? You're lucky. Really, it's a wonderful subject, for comedy. So the first part of the show, I talk not only about Berlusconi, but also about the situation. And so it's very amusing, divertente, funny. And then we match with the maximum of the poets in the world, the Divine Comedy.
When did you first encounter Dante's work? I'm assuming that because he's such a classic writer, it's something you're taught at school, but it seems that it's more for you, that he's something of an inspiration.
Oh, yes, it is, because he's a friend of mine. When I was reading Dante first time, I said, but he is reading me. Dante, we are not reading Dante, it's Dante reading us. He knows me profoundly. There I found some sentiment, some emotion, Patricia, I swear. He's a man who knows so profound women and men. And this book, everything he wrote was for the image of a girl, for a woman, so in the eyes of a woman. He looked in the eyes of a woman and he saw, like now I'm looking in your eyes, Patricia, and I saw the eternity. He saw there, he discovered that the fact that happened in this world is not the end of the question. And so beautiful and also funny.
Let's talk briefly about Life is Beautiful. It was some years ago now, but you won Oscars for it. And in fact, your Oscar acceptance speech for when it won the Best Foreign Film Award is very famous because, in fact, you're famous for your physical comedy, your physical humour. Are you going to combine that with your discourse on Dante in this show?
Yes, because Dante in himself is talking about the body a lot. The body of Dante in the Beyond is very present. He talks a lot about his body. It's a poetry that you can smell, you can eat. You know, it's something that you can touch, the poetry of Dante. Since I was a little boy, I was reading Dante because it's very popular and mysterious and incomprehensible sometimes. But thanks God that we have something difficult to read, you know, because it's very healthy to read incomprehensible things. Very, very healthy.
If we can go back to Life is Beautiful just for a moment, how did that change your career? Because I would have expected then that Hollywood would be knocking on your door with 1,000 different offers to direct films, to act in films. Did that happen?
Yes, it happened. But I mean, they are very generous. Very generous. They has been and they continue to be. But I am very particular body of actor and style. So you know, I don't like to make the cliché of Italians outside, or pizza man, or mafia man, or you know.
This is exactly what I was going to ask.
I received a lot of this, and also sometimes also with the major companies to work for them, from Disney to other major companies to stay there to work. But me, I mean, my roots are in Italy and my soul is there, and we can be universal, starting from a little village. It's not, you don't need to be in Los Angeles, but they still continues to offer me things, but I prefer to be, I did 2 more movies directed by myself, and my show on Dante now is 3 years. I'm going around the world and in Italy.
Well, the show on Dante has been incredibly popular in Italy. We've seen you performing it to vast audiences. Why do you think it's been so popular? What is it about this show that Italians are loving? You're not a humanities professor simply talking your way through Dante.
Oh, but you know, the vices are all the same. I mean, it was the greed, the power, and also the clergy is very critical about this. Do not forget that they wanted to burn this book, and Dante himself, after he wrote this book, he was a very engaged, politically exiled. He was a very, very modern.
How are you going to take a show like this to an English audience? How are you going to translate these ideas, even the contemporary things like the political satire?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're taking it to an English audience who know who Dante is, but may not necessarily be very, very familiar with it.
But it's not necessary to know Dante profoundly. Dante wrote for the sound, the rhythm, it's music.
As an end, I just want to say, could you please recite a few lines for us?
Oh, yes. I can tell you the end of the quinto canto, when Francesca, she said, quando leggemmo il disiato riso esser baciato da cotanto amante, questi che mai da me non fia diviso, la bocca mi baciò tutto tremante.
Roberto Benigni. TuttoDante is at the Royal Theatre on Drury Lane in London from the 5th of April.